Now we turn to the frantic search for a missing New York teen. The last time anyone heard from Brittanee Drexel was on Saturday night when she sent a text message to one of her friends. Without getting permission from her mother, 17-year-old Brittanee Drexel left Rochester, New York for a spring break trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. She was last spotted here at the Bar Harbor Hotel Saturday night. Her whereabouts since are unknown. Family and friends traveled to Myrtle Beach in hopes of tracking down the high school junior.
It's been horrible because I don't know where she is. I don't know if she's alive. She left all her clothing, her hair stuff, everything. It's just not like Brittanee. Something's wrong.
Brittanee has a history of depression, which has her father especially worried.
She just had emotional issues, very, very stressful emotional issues. She needed a break from all the drama that was going on here.
Police have now identified Peter Brozowitz, the last known person with her, as a person of interest in the disappearance. And joining us now from Florence, South Carolina, is Brittanee's mother, Dawn. Good morning. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us.
Good morning.
How are the local authorities treating this case? Are they treating it as a missing person?
They are treating it as a missing person, yes. The police department here has been wonderful. They've given me their personal cell phone numbers. I have access to them at any time of the day. They've just been great.
What do you know about this Peter Brozowitz, this person they say is a person of interest? And is this somebody that your daughter knows?
This is somebody that my daughter knows. She's known him, I believe, for a few years, maybe longer. I've heard his name. I believe I met him maybe once.
Mm-hmm. What is the police department's concern about this young man?
They didn't really say too much in reference to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I really can't answer that.
Yeah, we showed in the piece your your daughter's father said that she had concerns about him, excuse me, about your daughter and about her sort of psychological stability. Is there a possibility here that she just ran away?
No, I don't believe she just ran away. And she was going through a lot because my soon-to-be ex-husband, we're going through a divorce. So this has been very hard on her.
All right, well, Dawn, we thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us, and we hope that just broadcasting this story will help people who may have seen her contact police and let's get a good outcome to this story. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us.
You're welcome.
All right, be
No, it's not that nobody knows. They're refusing. So it's overt acts. When you have knowledge, for those listening, because I know that they're listening, when you have knowledge of the crime, even if it's passed on to somebody else, you can all be brought in, because one of them is going to come forward or one of them is going to fall. Mm-hmm. Then they're all going to fall.
Imagine getting a phone call that your teen is out of town without your permission and is missing.
17-year-old Brittanee Drexel traveled to Myrtle Beach from Rochester, New York last Wednesday night. She went missing sometime Saturday night.
Brittanee's mother passed out flyers asking for help.
She left all her clothing, everything. It's just not like Brittanee.
The trouble started April 25th. A traffic camera caught Brittanee walking north before she walked out of the Blue Water Resort.
Those are the last known images of Brittanee Drexel.
We will work hard until we've exhausted all the leads that we have.
Investigators traced Drexel's cell signal to Georgetown County. Search teams continue to cover near the North Santee River, looking for Brittanee Drexel's cell phone.
It's been horrible because I don't know where she is. I don't know if she's alive.
Where is Brittanee Drexel? Now police are questioning a man from Webster. His name is Peter Brozowitz.
Brozowitz checked out of his hotel around 2 a.m. the night Drexel went missing. He was in Myrtle Beach with friends from Rochester. Drexel met Brozowitz at a party Saturday and was later at his hotel room with his friends. She left his room to return to her girlfriend's hotel, but Drexel has not been heard from since.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil exclusive, she disappeared on spring break. Now,
the man who says he was one of the last people to see Brittanee Drexel is going to speak out for the very first time.
I was there with 4 other people, and I'm the one that's singled out.
In an effort to generate new leads in the investigation, police released to the media a new and important piece of evidence.
There is some new information in the disappearance of a New York teenager who vanished nearly a year ago on a spring.
A video of Brittanee Drexel, shot just 24 hours before she disappeared.
Hey, Brett.
What?
A college student from the Midwest, who had also been vacationing in Myrtle Beach, shot this video on the night of Friday, April 24th, after befriending Brittanee along Ocean Boulevard.
There were some kids that were antagonizing her because she was a really pretty girl. Some kids were yelling at her and antagonizing her, and so she asked some kid, you know, will you walk with me so that they stop yelling towards me?
They talked and they went to her motel room, and he did a short video clip of her while they were talking. And it was confirmed that it was, in fact, Brittanee.
Investigators verified that the student has an alibi and has no knowledge of Brittanee's whereabouts.
Once he was aware that he had video, he and his family contacted us and relinquished the video to us.
Brittanee Drexel has yet to be found.
The video receives national attention.
Now, never before seen images have surfaced from the night before she disappeared.
A boy she had met on spring break shot this cell phone video at a hotel.
Unfortunately, nothing emerges that enables police to make an arrest.
No, it's not that nobody knows. They're refusing. So it's overt acts. When you have knowledge, for those listening, because I know that they're listening, when you have knowledge of the crime, even if it's passed on to somebody else, you can all be brought in, because one of them is going to come forward or one of them is going to fall. Then they're all going to fall.
Today on an all-new Dr. Phil exclusive, she disappeared on spring break. Now,
The man who says he was one of the last people to see Brittanee Drexel is going to speak out for the very first time.
I was there with 4 other people, and I'm the one that's singled out.
You knew something that you weren't telling me. It's fishy.
When she left our hotel, she said, "I'm fine."
We've got to help these parents try to find this young girl.
If you're a gentleman, why wouldn't you walk my daughter to her hotel?
What I have to say is,
This is going to be a changing day in your life. I know things are tough out there, but we can do this. Here we go. I want you to get excited about your life.
4, and ready, see.
Let's do it. Well, I'm here with Chad. You've probably seen pictures of his daughter Brittanee on the news. She's 17. She's been missing for nearly 2 weeks. Now, those of you who might not be familiar with Brittanee's disappearance, pay close attention to her story, because maybe, just maybe, you've seen or heard something that could help bring her home.
Imagine getting a phone call that your teen is out of town without your permission and is missing.
17-year-old Brittanee Drexel traveled to Myrtle Beach from Rochester, New York last Wednesday night. She went missing sometime Saturday night.
Brittanee's mother passed out flyers asking for help.
She left all her clothing, everything. It's just not like Brittanee.
The trouble started April 25th. A traffic camera caught Brittanee walking north before she walked out of the Blue Water Resort.
Those are the last known images of Brittanee Drexel.
We will work hard until we've exhausted all the leads that we have.
Investigators traced Drexel's cell signal to Georgetown County. Search teams continue to cover near the North Santee River, looking for Brittanee Drexel's cell phone.
It's been horrible because I don't know where she is. I don't know if she's alive.
Well, Brittanee's mother, Dawn, is with us via satellite from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where Brittanee was last seen. And Dawn, I was just saying to Chad, just as a parent, I'm glad to meet you, but I'm so very sorry for the circumstance. If you were here, I'd give you a hug. I think this is just terrible that you're doing. So thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Do you have a theory about what has happened or where Brittanee might be?
It seems to me someone took Brittanee. Either she got in the car willingly, she may have met somebody here that maybe she trusted, that she was hanging out with since that Wednesday when she had come down to South Carolina, or she went unwillingly into a vehicle.
What do you think has happened here?
I believe Brittanee may, I don't feel that Brittanee got hurt. I just have a gut feeling as her dad that she's run somewhere.
So you think she's run away? You think she's hiding or something?
More of me believes that.
Mm-hmm. Is that because you want to believe it, or is there something about her situation and circumstance that gives you cause to believe that?
The history of raising my daughter, the choices that I believe she made with going down there, you know, without my consent and my ex-wife's consent. I just believe that she's not going to make the choice to jump in any car with a stranger. I mean, that's not how I raised her.
Dawn, you don't believe that she's run away, is that right?
First of all, she wouldn't leave all her clothes, okay? She has all her clothes back at the hotel that I'm staying at. I have her flat iron. Brittanee does not go anywhere unless her hair and makeup is done, okay? Her cell phone, she's on that cell phone 24 hours a day. I mean, she's just literally texting. I mean, she does go to sleep, but I mean, she's literally on that cell phone. You know, and that, it just, everything doesn't match up.
What do you say to Dawn's observation that she wouldn't have left her clothes, wouldn't be off of her cell phone, wouldn't have gone silent?
My daughter's always been a resourceful person. She's always been a very strong-minded person. It's not like her to leave all that stuff. I agree with my ex-wife on that. But it's very likely that if she is running because of the events that led up to the day before she left, well, then that's what she's doing. I mean, it's not a hopeful thing for myself just because I don't want my daughter found somewhere.
Dawn, you had forbidden her to go to Myrtle Beach, is that right?
That is correct.
And why did you do that? Why did you not want her going there?
You know, she was having 17-year-old teenager issues, and, you know, we just didn't feel at this time that it was okay for her to go. And especially since we didn't know these kids.
Right. And Chad, did you know she was there at all?
Not at all.
You had no idea she was going. Where did you think she was?
Home with my ex-wife.
Yeah, you just thought she was home with your ex-wife and didn't know she was anywhere at all.
We didn't find out that she was there until Saturday evening. And when I got a phone call, you know, stating that from John Greco that her, which is her boyfriend, stating that she was in South Carolina and that they couldn't find her.
Dawn, I think so many of the mothers that are watching right now, a heart goes out to you, and they really want to know what your feelings are at this point. What are you going through minute to minute right now?
Well, this is a parent's worst nightmare. You know, there's people out there that are crazy. You don't know what they're going to do. It's very emotionally draining. I'm very tired. I haven't gotten out a lot of sleep. I haven't been eating. I ended up spraining my ankle yesterday. So it's just it's draining emotionally and physically. I mean, you know, we've been crying, we've been pleading. You know, I've been on the media. We just want to find Brittanee. Our focus is on Brittanee. I want to find my baby.
If she's run away, and if she's watching this show right now, what would you say to her to let her know it's okay to come home? I mean, because it's entirely possible she's watching you right this moment. What do you say to her?
Baby, your brother and your sister and your mother and I just need you home. We need you home, and whatever the past has brought onto you, we can work on things. She's not going to be in trouble if she's scared about being in trouble. I was always the disciplinary with her. If that's what she did, she needs help, and I'd be the first to be there for her to get help.
Dawn, if someone does have her, if someone has taken her against her will, what do you say to them?
Please give us back our daughter. I mean, we have so many people that love Brittanee, that and her brother and sister miss her dearly. It hurts me very much when I see her younger brother and sister ask me, you know, they say, Mommy, please bring Brittanee home. We miss her, we love her. Brittanee may be scared. I don't know what I don't know what they may have done if someone does have her. You know, I want them to return her home. She's ours and we need her.
We're going to continue and talk about this when we come back. I mean, look at this picture of Brittanee. If you've seen her anywhere, if you have any idea whatsoever, don't waste time, don't make prank calls, but if you know something that can help, for God's sakes, pick up the phone and call the authorities. And when we come back, one of the last people who reportedly saw Brittanee before she disappeared is going to speak out for the very first time. We'll add that to the conversation when we come back.
If you're a gentleman, why wouldn't you walk my daughter to her hotel or drive her there, knowing it was dark out that night?
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil, 5 parents fighting for their families now.
I have no affectionate feelings towards you at all. I don't even want to be around you.
What are you so mad at her about?
I don't know.
She hasn't done anything. She's the same little girl that you held in your arms.
I feel like she was a mistake.
There are moments in life where all things wrong can be made right. This can turn around.
That's tomorrow. We now return to Dr. Phil and the disappearance of Brittanee Drexel.
Where is Brittanee Drexel? Now police are questioning a man from Webster. His name is Peter Brozowitz.
Brozowitz checked out of his hotel around 2 a.m. the night Drexel went missing. He was in Myrtle Beach with friends from Rochester. Drexel met Brozowitz at a party Saturday and was later at his hotel room with his friends. She left his room to return to her girlfriend's hotel, but Drexel has not been heard from since.
Well, it's the story that has every parent hugging their child a little tighter each day. 17-year-old Brittanee Drexel went to Myrtle Beach for spring break against her parents' wishes, and she hasn't been seen since. Now, Peter Brozowitz was reportedly one of the last people with Brittanee the night she disappeared, and today he's speaking out for the first time. He's with his attorney, John.
Yes,
right,
absolutely, John Parinello.
Okay, thank you, John. I appreciate both you and Peter being here. Peter, is there anything that you can shed light on in this situation that these parents may not know?
I know just as much as the rest of the media. Like I said, the media twists everything that's going on. You weren't there. I was there with 4 other people, and I'm the one that's singled out.
Well, so tell us what happened. When was the last time you saw Brittanee, and what took place during that encounter?
The last time I saw her, she came up to our hotel room. We were watching the Yankees-Red Sox game, and she was on the phone arguing with her friend Jen about returning a pair of shorts.
Mm-hmm.
And she walked out. We all saw her walk out, and that's the last time I saw her.
Okay, and this was on Saturday, is that correct?
Peter tried to talk her into staying, but she insisted on leaving. Now, whether she ever got back to Jen to return the shorts, we don't know.
So, Peter, were you and Brittanee friends?
Yes, I've known her for a couple of years.
Right. Did you date, or were you just friends?
No, just friends.
Okay, and you spent some time with her in Myrtle Beach, but you didn't know she was going to be there, correct?
I had no idea.
Yeah. When she left at 8 o'clock, roughly, 8:13, whatever it was, did you have any plans to see her later in the evening?
She said, I'll give you a call later if I want to come out and party.
You never did hear from her after she left?
No.
What kind of mood, Peter, was she in when she left?
She honestly, she was in a decent mood. She didn't seem too upset, which was my concern. If I walked a mile down a strip by myself for that long and had to go all the way back to drop off my friend's shorts that I borrowed, I mean, I would never do that. Why would I want to walk all the way back?
Did she say anything to you in the time that y'all hung out down there that suggested to you that she was planning to run away, or any plans that she had in any way whatsoever? Can you shed any light on this at all?
Not a single thing. She didn't mention anything about meeting anybody, going out anywhere, nothing.
Uh-huh. And, you know, when we started this conversation, you said you weren't there, the media's twisting everything. Is there something that you want to set straight so far as the media? Because, I mean, I really expected you to be very concerned about a missing friend, but you actually seem to be upset in another way.
Well, of course I'm concerned about Brittanee. I mean, that girl is a nice girl, you know. But when I was in the room with 4 other kids, they're all with me the whole night. And then all of a sudden my name's mentioned as a person of interest when there's absolutely no evidence. My name's spelled wrong on the national news. My family's going through hell right now. You know, people look at me differently walking down the street. You could just imagine how I feel.
Well, I can, and I'm certain you can imagine how the parents feel and why they would look for any help, any information that they might get, and I'm sure it would be very grateful for any info that you might have.
As a matter of fact, yesterday, Peter submitted a DNA sample at the request of Myrtle Beach. There is no possible way that Peter Brozowitz had anything to do with Brittanee's disappearance.
Okay, and listen, I'm certainly not suggesting that he did. I'm just giving him an opportunity to set the record straight and trying to see if there's anything he might know that he doesn't even know means something that he might know. That's why we're asking the questions, and I appreciate y'all being here to answer them. Peter, there's been a lot made out of the fact that you and your friends left town at 2 a.m. the morning that she went missing. Did you want to address that?
Yeah, well, as anything, I'm from New York, Rochester. It's a 14, 15-hour drive. We were there for a whole week. Our checkout time was in the morning, Sunday morning, so we decided to leave at 2 o'clock, because why would you want to leave Sunday in the middle of a day when it's a tourist town?
Had you already planned to leave that morning at 2 a.m.? Was that something planned? Or you just, yeah. And at that
we were
time...
planning on leaving at 5 or 6 a.m.
Uh-huh. So you just were up and left anyway, huh?
We already pre-packed before we even went out that night to go to a party.
All right. Yeah, I'm here with Brittanee's parents. Dawn, Chad, is there anything that you would like to ask this young man? Dawn, go ahead.
Well, you know, I had spoke with Peter that evening as soon as I found out that Brittanee was missing, okay? And, I mean, what he was telling me just didn't add up. I mean, he was giving me 3 different scenarios and things like that. And that's why, you know, we thought he may know something. Because, I mean, any kind of friend, I don't care if you're a guy, I don't care if you're a girl, if you knew that Brittanee was walking that far from one hotel to the other, if you're a gentleman, why wouldn't you walk my daughter to her hotel or drive her there, knowing it was dark out that night? And not only that, the kids that they were with, Jen and the other, Alanna, I mean, this just bothers me because I tried to call them on the phone. Peter was working with me as far as trying to get them on the phone. They wouldn't answer my phone. So what did these kids want me or her father to think? I mean, it just doesn't look right. It's fishy.
I'm going to let Peter respond to that after the break.
We now return to Dr. Phil and the disappearance of Brittanee Drexel.
If you knew that Brittanee was walking that far from one hotel to the other, if you're a gentleman, why wouldn't you walk my daughter to her hotel or drive her there, knowing it was dark out that night? What did these kids want me or her father to think? I mean, it just doesn't look right. It's fishy.
Let's let Peter respond. Go ahead, Peter.
Okay, first of all, I did talk to Brittanee about why she was walking the strip by herself. And earlier that day, you know, she said, oh, for the last 3 nights, I walk by myself. Oh, it doesn't bother me. I'm fine. I'm like, well, I didn't even go anywhere by myself because it's pretty bad down there. And second of all, when she left her hotel, the sun was still up. And I offered her a ride, and she's like, no, it's okay, it's okay. And she acted like there was no worry at all for her to walk all the way back again.
You did offer her a ride?
Yes.
The problem with this whole thing are all the innuendos concerning Peter that were raised by Brittanee's mother and other people when nobody took the time to break down the chronology and realize that Peter could never have had anything to do with her disappearance.
Okay, but John, come on. You have to understand, these parents are desperate, and you guys should be leaning forward to do anything and everything that you can possibly do. I mean, Peter may know something that he doesn't even understand the significance of here. This isn't about trying to throw Peter under the bus, but we've got to help these parents try to find this innocent young girl.
No, Dr. Phil, Peter got thrown under the bus.
Well, but he's not getting thrown under the bus today.
He is still getting thrown under the bus.
No, he's not getting thrown under the bus by me here today. I've asked him very straight questions. There has been no innuendo here. I asked him what he wanted to say to set the record straight. I've given him and you the opportunity to talk. So don't say I've thrown him under the bus, because I certainly have not.
What I have to say is that when I was accused, not accused, but person of interest, there should be no reason whatsoever for me to be automatically thrown under the bus like that. That's being thrown under the bus, if you ask me.
Chad, go ahead. All right, let's let Chad speak. Chad, go ahead.
All right, so Peter, how old are you?
20.
You're 20. How old's my daughter?
17.
So you knew you were hanging out with a minor out of state, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my first question. And you had her in your hotel room with your friends who are much older than her as well, right?
One was 19, another one was 20.
Right,
and,
so my point here is, you said you knew that the atmosphere down there was not safe, correct?
Correct.
So why didn't you step up and say, it doesn't matter, Brittanee, let me take you so-and-so. I can hear that you had an argument with Jen. Why?
Okay, first of all, it's because I'm on spring break. I'm not there to babysit anybody. I don't know Brittanee like that, but as I know, she was down there with how many other friends? She was at 2 different hotels. I don't know what they did the whole week.
Peter, you're throwing yourself under the bus. You're throwing yourself under the bus.
I didn't figure.
Second of all, I have not had any of your contacts down there, not female or male, step up via email with my phone number everywhere in Rochester. Not one of you have contacted me and say, Mr. Drexel, I would love to help you find your daughter. You're making faces and gestures that I have seen from my 17-year-old. So what does that tell me?
Okay,
well, Mr. Drexel, Peter Brozowitz, the person sitting right here, has cooperated 100% with the police, and it doesn't do him any good to contact you or your wife directly.
We're focused on Brittanee, and I believe, you know, what we're trying to say is, you know, Peter, we want to find Brittanee. Neither one of you kids have stepped up and said, you know what, let me try to help you find Brittanee. It's like you guys didn't even care. You don't care about her. Because you know what? There was 5 boys that came to my hotel when I got here, and they went out and they helped John Greco pass out flyers. They were looking for her. None of you ever offered. I mean, even if you had to go back home, I understand that. But after everything that I talked to you about, Peter, and it's just, that's why there may have been some statements that I had made about you, because it just seemed like you knew something that you weren't telling me. You knew something, and that bothered me, okay? This is about Brittanee. I want to find my daughter.
We've got to take a break. I have a lot more questions for Peter when we come back.
We now return to Dr. Phil and the disappearance of Brittanee Drexel.
This is about Brittanee. I want to find my daughter.
Mrs. Drexel, everything that Peter knows about your daughter, every minute by minute...
I understand that.
Every minute by minute contact he had with her has been explained to the police.
That's not the point.
I understand that. I'm just
Peter's saying, Dawn, wait, hold on one second. Peter's saying that he's being thrown on the bus and he was put out there. Irregardless, he wasn't a part of anything. The point is you did nothing afterwards to help the situation. That's what would make you right. That's my point.
What could he have done? What could Peter have done? Once she left the hotel, if she was picked up by somebody, there was nothing that Peter could do except cooperate with the authorities.
John, I know you want these folks to find their daughter, and I know that you hope they find her healthy and well. But I think what they're saying here is that...
Dr. Phil, we're praying for that.
Well, I know that. I think what they're saying here is that it would be helpful to them if Peter showed some compassion here rather than defensiveness. And I know he's got his own agenda here with his own reputation and his own name, but they've lost their daughter, John. Come on, that's what they're saying. What could he have done? He could have shown some compassion. He could maybe have a different attitude of approach here because he's getting judged by his behavior and his attitude, and these parents are just saying, you know, come on, why are you being this way? Have some compassion for us and our daughter. That's what they're saying.
Okay, Dr. Phil, we hope that Brittanee is not a victim, but we also do not want Peter to be a victim of innuendos. He's a young man. He works. He lives in this community. And I'll tell you that beyond fully cooperating, Peter is nervous about where Brittanee is. He almost couldn't do this show. He's so upset.
Well, I'm glad that you did, Peter, and I'm glad that you've had your say here. And I think everybody, I think anything that you have, if they have any questions, I hope, John, you'll make him available for any help that, I mean, as I say, he may know things he doesn't even understand the significance of until this unfolds, and hopefully you'll continue to cooperate in that way.
He's totally available through the police to help the Drexels, Brittanee, and anybody that needs help.
We did talk to the Myrtle Beach Police Department, and they gave us this statement. They said, at this point, we continue to devote our utmost attention to this case in hopes of a timely conclusion. While we have not named any person of interest or suspects, we have not ruled anyone out. It would not be feasible on our part to do this because we don't know what happened. So that's their position. So they're saying that they don't consider anyone a person of interest at this point. So we'll see what happens. Chad, Dawn, our hearts and minds are with you. One last thing. You said there was some information between 8:45 and 9:15 in Myrtle Beach between 11th Avenue South and 21st Avenue South. So if you happen to be in that area, if you live in that area, if you've seen anything that looked unusual, if you recognized her, if you saw a car stopping, if anything happened that tweaks your memory now, please call the Myrtle Beach Police at 843-918-1300 or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST. You can also log on to helpfindbrittanee.com, and we'll have links on drphil.com. So, Dawn, please pick up the phone and call us if there's anything we can do. We want to keep a bright light on this. We want to keep it on everybody's mind and keep it out front. So, Chad, anything we can do, you just let us know. We want to keep the heat, keep the energy on this so it doesn't get out of anybody's mind. We'll be right back.
If it's too late to worry and you're too blue to cry, then get ready for Dr. Lori Roth. She's a PhD, black belt, host, singer, songwriter, mom, gun owner, survivor, and red-blooded American through and through. From 3,000 feet up in the mountains of Washington, it's the Annie Oakley of the airwaves. Ready or not, here she comes. Dr. Lori Roth.
Welcome to my Unsolved Crime segment. We have Susan Murphy Milano, who has joined us, and she brought a guest with her, Dawn Drexel. She's the mother of Brittanee Drexel. You may have heard of this story. In 2009, Brittanee went down with some friends, snuck down on spring break to have some fun and never came back, and the friends aren't talking, and we want to know what happened to Brittanee. And Susan Murphy Milano, you can check her out at SusanMurphyMilano.com. She is a crime blogger. She has her own show. She's a survivor. She is a best-selling author, and she cares. She cares about helping people solve crimes and keep from being killed. And she's kept a lot of people from being killed, especially in abusive relationships, helping them to get out. Dawn, welcome, and Brittanee, we got to find what happened to Brittanee. Tell the folks, if they didn't track this story very well, Dawn, what happened to your daughter?
Well, we don't know what happened to Brittanee. Brittanee left here on a Wednesday night, and she got to Myrtle Beach on Thursday, basically what happened that day is I told her she couldn't go, and she kept fighting and arguing with me. She was really adamant about going there, and I had asked her, or she had asked me why she couldn't go, and I told her because there was no parental supervision. I didn't know the kid she was going down with, and something was going to happen to her. And I had kept in contact with her because I thought that she was at a friend's house here in Rochester. I didn't really have any reason to believe that Brittanee would, I trusted her, for her, and, I didn't think she would lie to me. So, we had kept in contact. She was down there Thursday, Friday. She ended up being with one of Peter all day Saturday. They had walked on the beach and so on and so forth. They were hanging out, and I had talked to Brittanee that day, and I asked her about her soccer cleats because Brittany's a very avid soccer player, and her season was coming up. So I had talked to her that day, and I asked her, what are you doing later? She says, we're just going to hang out and watch movies. And here I thought she told me she was at the beach. But they call our lake here the beach, and it was 80 degrees that day. So when we were talking on the phone, I asked her, what are you going to do later? She said, we're going to watch movies. And then I said, okay, I'll give you a call, later on, because we got invited to go to a barbecue. So we ended up going, and then I said, I'll call you later, or, call me when you get back to the girl's house that you were at the beach with.
Sure.
So, and then she says, I love you. She goes, Mom, I'll see you tomorrow. I love you. And I said, I told her I love you too. And then that's the last time I heard from her. So Saturday night, when I get home from the barbecue, my phone rings, and Brittanee's boyfriend, or at the time, John, had called me and said that they couldn't find Brittanee. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't find Brittanee? And they said she was down in Myrtle Beach and they couldn't find her. So that's when all this started. I started calling the kids and the police here, and I called Peter and I had asked him, where's Brittanee? When did you see her last? And, he gave me like 3 different stories when I was talking to him.
The boyfriend?
But every single time I called him, he would answer the phone.
I'm talking with Dawn Drexel. She's the mother of Brittanee Drexel, who disappeared 2 years ago in Myrtle Beach. And you were starting to tell us a story, and Susan Murphy Milano is also on the line, crime blogger and survivor and best-selling author. Dawn, so your daughter apparently snuck out, 18 hours away down to Myrtle Beach, and you had no idea, and she went down with her boyfriend and 25 other kids, I understand? A whole ton of kids were going to go down there.
Yeah, she didn't go down with her boyfriend, though. Her boyfriend was here working.
Oh, okay.
She went with these other kids that she knew.
Okay, so she was going down with a bunch of other kids, and she was 17, and they were allegedly older?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but she knew them in the area, and they were going to go down there and have a good time. and God knows what. Okay, so you get a call. What, the next morning, that night, or how much time?
That night. It was about 9. I believe between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. I got that call.
A call from what? One of the girls or some?
No, from her boyfriend here, stating that because they had been texting back and forth, and then all of a sudden all communication stopped with Brittanee, and he had texted Brittanee, if you don't answer me, I am going to call your mom and tell her that you're in South Carolina.
Okay, so
and she never texted him back.
So they were texting, and then it just seemed odd that all of a sudden she stopped communicating with him.
Correct.
I see. So she apparently didn't respond properly. Okay, so it wouldn't have been that she just stopped talking and was going out on the beach. It wasn't her style. So he knew something was wrong. So he called you, and it was 10 o'clock at night. Then what happened?
Well, I mean, I didn't know how to get in touch with Myrtle Beach, so I called our law enforcement here. And in the meantime, I had been, talking to Peter, and I had made phone calls to Brittanee's dad and stuff like that. But I had put Peter on the phone with the law officer that came here, and he goes, "This person is giving me like 3 different stories. What's going on?" So we just kept calling the kids, and then finally, because I was asking them, I said, why aren't you reporting her missing? Why aren't you going out to look for Brittanee? And they didn't have an answer for that. Well, I'm not her babysitter. And, they weren't going to call the police. So I called one of Brittanee's best friends. His name is John Hahn, and he's stationed in Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. And I asked him, I said, will you please go to Myrtle Beach and report her missing? And he actually had to go through his commander to go ahead and let him go down there to report Brittanee missing because I had an 18-hour ride ahead of me.
Oh, yeah, that's
he could have got there quicker than I could.
And so the 25 kids, you had no idea who they were, or you weren't able to talk to them at the beginning stages to find out where she was?
Well, there was a couple people that came to my hotel room that knew Brittanee's boyfriend, and I believe it was Nico, Viet. There was a couple other kids with them. I can't remember all of their names, but some of them were had come to the hotel room, and they were all upset. I mean, they had tears in their eyes and everything, and then supposedly they were supposed to go and pass out flyers. But what I heard from John Greco was that they never passed out those flyers. They went and had to do something else before they left Myrtle Beach to go home.
Okay, so that night happened, and she was allegedly with them, she stopped giving messages back and forth to her boyfriend, and then what happened? When did any of these kids get contacted by the authorities so that people could track where in the heck she was?
Well, I know that Peter left there around 1 or 2 in the morning, and I believe Brittanee was not reported missing until 5 a.m. We have the police reports because we called John in the middle of the night, and it's like a three-hour drive for him to go get to Myrtle, 2.5, 3 hours. So, and he was trying to look for her when he got down there too. But he probably didn't talk to them until Sunday because Brittanee wasn't reported missing until 5 a.m.
And Lori, you've got footage too. You've got footage in the hotel at the Blue Water Resort where the group of guys have been staying, where the last person that she sees is this group of people upstairs, and they're the ones that leave kind of hightailing it out of there at 1 o'clock in the morning. The last person to see her hightails it out and lawyers up very quickly. And it for no cooperation, here's a mother that comes down, looking desperately for a kid. It's spring break week period. It's jammed up. You can see in the footage that has been on Nancy Grace and the footage that Myrtle Beach were able to get from the hotel, you can see there's an intent there. She's downstairs, and you can see her on the camera. She's going to someplace. She's not just randomly walking around. She's not going to randomly walk from one hotel to the other. She's got an intent to be someplace. And in my opinion, one of these kids, young adults, they have knowledge of where what happened to her. They have never been able to look this mother in the eye. They have never been able to help. If it weren't for the Q Center, Monica Quezon, the searches that they have been doing in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, have been constant. Every time there's a tip, every time there's information, they're out there searching for this girl. And here's all these kids.
Was anybody able to do any profiles on any of the 25 that were there? Was there drugs? Was there alcohol? Were there any criminals? Was there any sex
there was
perverts?
A lot of drugs and alcohol there. I think they were supposed to go to a party that night too, but they had GHP, they had ecstasy, they had cocaine, they had liquor. One of the people that was with them, he had told us that there was drugs down there, yes. And
but you also have hotel workers. The hotel workers at the Bar Harbor, the Boardwalk, the Blue Water Resort. The workers there. Somebody must have seen something. Somebody knows something. These kids have all been scared, threatened, likely to be quiet and just go on their way. And yet, they all come down together. They all come down with her, and they don't leave with her. They're not caring what happens to her. Is it because they know what happens to her? And if they don't be quiet, then they themselves, something will happen to them or their families. I mean, Dawn, I know you've thought about that.
I have, and I mean, those kids right now are going to be in more trouble than they would have been regardless. I mean, now they're looking at, because if my daughter, God forbid, if my daughter is not alive, whoever has done this to her, they will get the same sentence according to the police officers.
Well, the thing, so we don't know if someone grabbed her, took her off somewhere in a room and raped her.
We know she was abducted. We know that we know that it wasn't, we don't know what happened to her after she left that hotel.
So it's not like she was a potential runaway from you.
That's correct.
She wasn't clinically depressed that you know of, right? I mean,
Brittanee was dealing with quite a few things back home. She was dealing with a divorce. Her and her boyfriend weren't getting along all that great. So, she had some issues.
She had some issues.
But the issue is that she called a child called her mother and said, "I'll see you tomorrow. I love you."
Yeah.
Doesn't happen.
No. She wasn't setting up for to kill herself or disappear into the night. No, she was with a bunch of people, and I mean, if there were all kinds of drugs and nasty intentions, would she have been suckered into that, or would she have fought that or caused a problem for some of them with their drug plans?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if they could have slipped something into her drink. I know that one of the kids took her into a bar and got her drunk. I mean, she was 17 years old, but somebody could have slipped it in her drink that she was drinking. She could have water. So, I mean, who knows? You know what I mean?
But here's a 17-year-old. They get up to a club, and is she up there at the VIP lounge? Is she up there for another reason? Lori, she's an extremely attractive young woman. I mean, beautiful. The kind that we see that get abducted and taken away. The person that is, to me, a person of interest is a young guy. He's got a lot of money. And for 19 or 20 years old, he's a club promoter between South Carolina and Rochester. Is he the one that coaxed her? He's the one that's with her that day at the Blue Water. She is with them upstairs. He's got, other things that we're being able to uncover. Again, I mean, it's leading to suspicions of these people that should be persons of interest, but it's also none of them have had the guts, the balls to call You know, in that tip, like I said, the Q Center, all they have to do is call an anonymous tip. Say where she is. Say what happened. It's anonymous for a reason, and not one of these counts have done this. This is so important.
Yeah.
2 years.
Oh, yeah, and you're saying that the people know that she was with a club promoter?
Oh, we knew. Brittanee has known him for, I would probably say, 5 or 6 years.
So she was at that club. She went in there, and witnesses said she got intoxicated at the club. But was she hanging out with that promoter? Did they see the exchange?
Yeah, from what we know, it was written. They had written that she was at the club, and we seen this on Facebook that she had been in this club, in a club Kryptonite. And that he took her up to the VIP lounge, and he got her totally wasted.
Okay, did anyone see her after that, or could that have been where the disappearance happened?
No, that was Thursday night when they got there.
Okay.
That was Thursday night that happened.
Okay, but then people saw her after that? You know?
Yeah, there's people that saw her Thursday, Friday.
Okay, so she didn't disappear.
The day.
Okay, so she didn't necessarily disappear. I was wondering if someone put some drugs in her drink and accidentally killed her, and then tried to hide their crime.
You know
this
what?
club promoter.
Another thing too is those kids were not very nice to her. They were not very nice to her, and her boyfriend, they had told us to text that we're going back and forth saying these kids were being mean to her and all this other stuff, and that's why she wasn't around them a lot. From what we know, she walked alone a lot down there because she didn't want to be around these kids because they were treating her so bad.
And then they also say, Lori, that after all this, that they didn't know her before this. But we can peg them to a party on 3/27, the month before. They're all there. So why deny if you have knowledge? That's what's so disturbing about this. And when one of the girls allegedly is Brittaney's, or she's being texted and saying, "Bring me back my shorts," you're not going to wear a girl's dirty shorts that have had shorts on all day. Is shorts really a term for where's my drugs? Shorts, shorties, shorts. Could that be possible? Was there something that they wanted her to do with it she had unknowingly? She, again, was a beautiful girl. These other girls were jealous of her. They have to know what happened because, again, you wouldn't leave. And what about the parents of all of these kids? How dare they not talk to their children, talk to these young people and say, if you know something, you come forward. How dare they not do that?
And where has it gone the last 2 years? Dawn, has there been any breakthroughs, or Susan, any movement with the Q Center, any tips at all that have come in, or has it been just dead quiet?
No. The Q Center is busting their dare ear. They have been on every single thing that happens that they find, that they locate, whether it's a ping on a phone or somebody calls in a tip. Myrtle Beach Police called Monica at the Q Center, and if anybody has a tip, the number there is 910-232-1687. They call in the tip. They had recently received one. Monica and her searchers, her team go down and search for a couple of days, combing a specific area.
Hold that thought. We'll be right back. I'm Lori Roth. We're talking about the tragic and mysterious disappearance of Brittanee Drexel in 2009, who went to Myrtle Beach 18 hours from her mother's place and snuck down there with a bunch of kids, 25 kids, and nobody seems to know what in the Sam Hill happened to Brittanee. A club promoter lawyered up. She knew this club promoter and was seen hanging out with him and went up to the VIP lounge. She got intoxicated, was seen after that, but then disappeared. And it's stunning to me that in the investigation that followed, Dawn and Susan, that none of the 25 could talk about her being intoxicated or taken off or going off in a car with somebody. Somebody did something or slipped her something and doesn't want to be implicated in a crime. I mean, do you think, it's speculation, but Susan and Dawn, what do you think could have happened?
Dawn?
That's a possibility. Something could have happened, and they had known about it. And, at this point, we don't know. I mean, that could have happened. It's possible.
Well,
but they're scared to come forward.
Well, Susan, you deal with criminals and all kinds of crazy people all the time. What is the modus operandi for a club owner going out and getting a high-profile attorney? What was the purpose of that?
Well, I think because everybody was looking at him, and you know, he was the last person to see her. She leaves his room. But the stories are sketchy between the girls that she's down there with and who she shares the room with and him. Another time, you know, they're too specific about certain things. I think something went wrong. And yeah, you don't lawyer up that quickly for no reason. And again, you're a kid. Where are you getting all this money? Where are you getting money in this way to he's got a lot of activities. The information that has been gathered and the files and the documents, now everybody's had to go back 2 years. Again, you know, the Q Center's concentration is to go out there and search for her, to find her. Could she have been human trafficked? There is a huge possibility. It cannot be ruled out because of the way that she looks. This is something. Did she go to Turkey? One of the guys that's there at that club, his father owns a tailor shop. We know tailor clothes. You know, in the olden times, what did they do, Lori? They smoked drugs into clothes, and then they extracted them. So is this tailor shop in Rochester, New York, does this have something to do with it? That kid that was there? Yes, he was arrested or taken into, you know, jail that night. The one kid, but again, he was there. It doesn't make any sense. And then he goes to Turkey in June of 2009. These kids all have been back here to Myrtle Beach. So now what I'm doing is taking and putting everything together because most of it doesn't make sense.
No.
The pattern of conduct in this case dictates that, yes, they do for sure know what happened to her. She didn't just get abducted. But between somebody saying, of the people that were there, I took a shower, I did this, I did that. It's too specific for these amount of kids, and it's not doable. Time was lost. It was confused. Look at the amount of time it took Dawn to drive down there.
Yeah.
She reacted very quickly, and you don't see this with a lot of these missing persons cases. Right away, what does she do? She gets in the car, she comes down. She does something right away to come down and ask and demand answers. And what do these children do? They leave, and they were responsible. This is what doesn't get me. I mean, what gets me the most. If you make sure that Brittanee Drexel has food while she's down there, why don't you make sure that she comes home with you?
Yeah.
Because she didn't have enough money.
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. We have a caller who'd like to join us on this conversation. Let's go to Janine in Wisconsin. Hi, Janine. Come on in.
Hi, Lori.
Hello.
I have to do something with the education and the prevention from life experience. I do not know martial arts, but I know how to defend myself. I think one of the things is I'm dealing with a stalker since 2005. I'm older than you, and it's taken me this much to figure it out. And it has nothing to do with drug or alcohol. It has to do with a predatory instinct. And I think we need to educate our younger male or female. The younger children, they're predators out there.
Can I make a suggestion to you? You know what? You make some really good points. Can you email me and we can come up with some things that would really help, because we're really talking about a young woman who's been abducted trying to get the information out.
I'm not on the internet, but I can go to the library and get
Okay, that would be great.
email.
Thank you.
Email her, SusanMurphyMilano.com.
Whoa. I don't know a shorthand. Susan
Murphy.
M.
URPHY.
HY.
Milano.
MILANO.com.
MIL.
Okay.
ANO.com, and you can find out how to email her there, because this is a different subject matter. But I mean, if you're being stalked, perhaps Susan.
Well,
has some
I already
tips.
took the guy to court, and it was his word against mine.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I'm
All
still
right.
being
Maybe we can
stalked.
educate some people. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk to you later, man. Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
You betcha. Bye.
Bye.
Totally different situation, but man, you know, there's things out there that are happening all over the place. So the Q Center is going down and responding
They were just here. They were just in, you know, I do my show on Thursdays in Myrtle Beach, and then I head out, and they were just here because it was also an event, a fundraiser, again, to create awareness, because what the Q Center does, too, is they go around the country at certain points, and they do an awareness campaign almost like on wheels, and they go to towns, missing persons, trying to get the information out there. In this case, you've got, you know, Myrtle Beach has such a large visitor population. In 2009, somebody had to see something.
Yeah.
Somebody had to know something, whether, again, it was a worker in the garage. It was a worker in the pool. It was one of the people.
Was it discovered who all the 25 kids were? Did the cops interview every last one of them?
Dawn?
I am not sure. I know that the immediate kids, as far as the group she came down with, and Peter, and I think his friends were.
Okay, so they were investigated and interviewed. See, that's the thing.
Supposedly they were interviewed.
And none of them knew a thing.
From what we didn't see any of what they had wrote. All we know is that supposedly their stories coincided with one another. They didn't tell us what they wrote in this statement.
Oh.
But they had time to talk. I mean, come on. And they all at the same time. And again, the last person to see her, and the club promoter, he's the last one to see her. He hightails it out of there. Why?
Yeah.
Why isn't the concentration on him? And again, these other kids that are, you know, and we always say this, Lori and Dawn, that the person and persons responsible always listen to these shows. And if they think that I'm going to give up, they are sadly mistaken. And if they think the Q Center is going to give up and looking for her, it just would be a nice thing to facilitate the information so that some decency could be done here. And,
I'm never going to give up looking for my daughter.
No.
If I have to be in people's faces all the time, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm her voice now, and I need to find out what happened to my daughter.
Yeah. Oh, I can't even imagine the hell you've gone through, Dawn, for 2 years not knowing. I can't even imagine.
It is. It's hell for me. It's hell for my family. I mean, because we're a pretty close-knit family. And, I mean, you know, every single one of us, not a day goes by that we don't think about her. You know, we love her so much. And it's just like, you know, just how everything happened, our family is just, they can't believe that nobody knows anything.
No, it's not that nobody knows. They're refusing. So it's overt acts. When you have knowledge, for those listening, because I know that they're listening, when you have knowledge of the crime, even if it's passed on to somebody else, you can all be brought in, because one of them is going to come forward or one of them is going to fall. Then they're all going to fall. It's going to be, they're all going to tell stories. It's whoever gets to the table first. But if you give an anonymous tip, there's a likelihood, again, it's not about who falls, it's about who finds her.
Yeah.
So that's what that's about.
Yeah.
And again, it's anonymous.
And what's that phone number if they want to give an anonymous tip and help us find her, whether she was sold into slavery, taken out of the country, killed, it was an accident, whatever happened, we must have closure here. What's that number again?
The number is 910-232-1687. And then the website is www.ncmissingpersons.org. And again, Monica Quezon has been on the show quite a bit. We've talked about these cases. This is one of the more frustrating ones because you have so many key players who have knowledge and who have been part of her disappearance, and they have been part of it just by the fact that they left and become silent with the truth. And that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah, and I still am dumbfounded that 25 people could be around her. She could have gone down with all those people, and not one of them remember seeing her. I mean, she went up to the VIP lounge with the club guy, but she was seen after that dancing, goofing off. But then what? No one recalls seeing her anywhere? I mean, Dawn, what were the last recorded statements of what they saw?
Well, from what I know, Brittanee got there Thursday. They went to Club Kryptonite Thursday night. Friday, they hung out at the beach. one of the girls that were staying at the hotel with her family, she had said that she played volleyball with Brittanee, and Brittanee was probably laying on the beach that day. I'm not sure what she did that night.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. We'll talk on the other side. Hold on. We're talking with Dawn Drexel, the mother of Brittanee Drexel, who disappeared in 2009 in Myrtle Beach. And, you know, she went down with 25 supposed friends who mysteriously have lost their voice, apparently, and don't recall what happened to Brittanee. She was 17 at the time, and we're trying to paint a picture of it. And the Q Center has been operating on any tips, and the investigators allegedly have talked with several of the people who were at this thing, and the club promoter lawyered up, and he was the last person allegedly to have seen her. She went to Club Kryptonite the Thursday night, and then was seen playing volleyball on the beach Friday, and then, you know, she was seen Friday night, and then Saturday she was seen, you're saying, Dawn, and so the last time allegedly she was seen by any of these low-life kids that have crap for brains, she was seen leaving the hotel at 9 or 9:10, and she had been texting her boyfriend, 30. But the boyfriend then said that she stopped texting about 10 past 9. Is that right, Don?
It's somewhere around there. It had to be between 9, 9:10, somewhere around there, yes.
So no one knows where she went that night, but then she was not seen again, and that was Saturday. Good heavens.
They only have the video of her going in and out of the hotel.
Okay, all right, hang on. We're talking about the tragic disappearance of Brittanee Drexel in 2009 in Myrtle Beach, and 25 kids were with her that magically
Can I say some of their first names, because they might know who they are. I'm sure they're listening.
Please.
Jennifer, Alanna, Phil, or Louie. I'm going to say Khalid, Anthony, Viet, Nico, Lindsay, Britt, Sydney, Kaylee, Danielle, Taylor, Therese, Rebecca, Shelby, Alex, Peter, Keith, Philip, Matthew, Anthony. You know, there's a lot of things forensically that can be done since this time. Whether you have removed information, there's always a point where information stays in a tower someplace. No matter how much you erase and do, as long as professional technology individuals, computer experts, Homeland Security, FBI, ICE, have your IP address, have that special code to your phone, be it a BlackBerry, be it an iPhone, be it your computer, it can go back and be traced, more so than you realize. And there's things now that they're able to do, and if people are wondering how we're going to be starting to put information and get this out there, and no one took it, no one gave it to me. It is from things that we have been trying to do. Again, if any of these kids that I mentioned their name, if you're listening, all anybody wants to do is to find her. It's anonymous. You will not be arrested for providing an anonymous tip. The other kids won't know. Please call the number of the Q Center, 910-232-1687. That's 910-232-1687. Again, because if there is an arrest before all this, and it does pinpoint to one or two of the kids, you are all going down. And then you're all going to have to lawyer up, and you're all going to have to tell different stories. But you've had enough time to tell your story. But there's a lot of holes in their timeline. There's a lot of holes when the one individual was arrested. There's a lot of holes with shower time. There's a lot of holes in all of these kids' stories that no one's ever really put together. That's what we're doing now. So no one's threatening them. All we're saying is to please call the tip line. And I mean, Dawn and her family have been through so much. The Q said without this process that they've had to go through, this family wouldn't survive like this. For missing persons, the Q Center across the country advocates and supports. The Q Center is like a Red Cross, if you will. Mm-hmm. So they do recovery and rescue, and it's no charge to the families, but they depend on the public's donations. They depend on the donations for the searchers. They're going down to Kelly Rothwell's next week, who is the missing cadet. They depend on, the water and the food for the animals, the horses, the dogs. Because without it, Dawn, you saw the massive, in Georgetown, massive search on how they had, the family taken care of while all these workers, law enforcement, experts, searchers, were out in the field, didn't you?
We ran out of time. In a few seconds, can you give out that number at the Q Center? And folks listening in, do the right thing.
910-232-1687.
Dawn, thank you for your courage, and we'll keep you in prayer.
Thank you so much, Lori.
We'll find her.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Susan. Check out SusanMurphyMilano.com.
No, it's not that nobody knows. They're refusing. So it's overt acts. When you have knowledge, for those listening, because I know that they're listening, when you have knowledge of the crime, even if it's passed on to somebody else, you can all be brought in, because one of them is going to come forward or one of them is going to fall. Then they're all going to fall.
These are the last known surveillance photos of Brittanee Drexel. In April 2009, while on spring break in Myrtle Beach, the then 17-year-old from Rochester, New York, left the Blue Water Resort on Ocean Boulevard, heading toward the Bar Harbor Motel where she was staying. She hasn't been seen since. This is what Brittanee may look like as a 20-year-old. The Q Center for Missing Persons hired a forensic artist to come up with how Brittanee may have changed over the last 3 years.
We have done extensive searches, and we continue to do so. It just gives another opportunity for the case, just in case, she may have been or may still be out there and be recognized.
The forensic artist used family members to come up with this picture.
I had to send pictures over to Diana of myself, my brother and my parents, and also Brittanee's biological father, John, and his mom and his sister.
Even though birthdays and holidays have come and gone since Brittanee disappeared, her family has not given up hope that someday she'll come home.
Oh, you never know. She may be going by a different name, but I'll tell you, if they have that picture of the age progression and they take a really good look at it, maybe somewhere someone will see her and maybe have a better chance of bringing her home.
Now we turn to the frantic search for a missing New York teen. The last time anyone heard from Brittanee Drexel was on Saturday night when she sent a text message to one of her friends. Without getting permission from her mother, 17-year-old Brittanee Drexel left Rochester, New York for a spring break trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. She was last spotted here at the Bar Harbor Hotel Saturday night. Her whereabouts since are unknown. Family and friends traveled to Myrtle Beach in hopes of tracking down the high school junior.
It's been horrible because I don't know where she is. I don't know if she's alive. She left all her clothing, her hair stuff, everything. It's just not like Brittanee. Something's wrong.
Brittanee has a history of depression, which has her father especially worried.
She just had emotional issues, very, very stressful emotional issues. She needed a break from all the drama that was going on here.
Police have now identified Peter Brozowitz, the last known person with her, as a person of interest in the disappearance. And joining us now from Florence, South Carolina, is Brittanee's mother, Dawn. Good morning. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us.
Good morning.
How are the local authorities treating this case? Are they treating it as a missing person?
They are treating it as a missing person, yes. The police department here has been wonderful. They've given me their personal cell phone numbers. I have access to them at any time of the day. They've just been great.
What do you know about this Peter Brozowitz, this person they say is a person of interest? And is this somebody that your daughter knows?
This is somebody that my daughter knows. She's known him, I believe, for a few years, maybe longer. I've heard his name. I believe I met him maybe once.
Mm-hmm. What is the police department's concern about this young man?
They didn't really say too much in reference to him. So I really can't answer that.
Yeah. We showed in the piece your your daughter's father said that she had concerns about him, about your daughter and about her sort of psychological stability. Is there a possibility here that she just ran away?
No, I don't believe she just ran away. And she was going through a lot because my soon-to-be ex-husband, we were going through a divorce. So this has been very hard on her.
All right, well, Dawn, we thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us, and we hope that just broadcasting this story will help people who may have seen her contact police and let's get a good outcome to this story. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us.
You're welcome.
All right, be well.